Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, El Discipline. Alongside me is your other host, Suhey Sotomayor. Jumping right into it. We know y'all are fiends and y'all know what that means. We're serving you your dose weekly of discipline therapy where not everything is completely free, as we're on Patreon for a plethora of exclusive content for you to see. But what is free is it's judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive free, and plenty of liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, and my favorite roll of blunt. But make sure the children are in bed. Why? Because we have that soul food and sometimes vulgar conversation. Prepare your mind to be fed like one of inhale life and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Debbie podcast. We're
We're
here.
here. All right. We have links in the description how to become part of our Patreon family and subscribe for exclusive content, bloopers, behind the scenes, EL Discipline solo lecture of Discipline Therapy Talk, his BDSM content, erotica posts, and writings by Mr. Discipline. We also upload the masterclass and his workshops. The full videos are uploaded there. We have some collaboration shows pertaining to more sensitive topics such as sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, transgender, child abduction, conspiracy theories, government conspiracy theories, and much, much more with myself and Mr. EL Discipline. Once again, how to become part of our Patreon family, you go to patreon.com/the Discipline Therapy Podcast. Now, Mr. EL Discipline also has 7 published books. You could pick one, anyone you want. I'm sure you're going to love them all. They're available for purchase on Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com. We have them for electronic versions as well, like Kindle and Nook. And once again, all the links are in the description below. For our online store for merch, now we both have it on. I have this one. This one is from the Divine. This is Divine Disciplines from the workshop, and he has. Is that one from ours too?
Yeah. Sometimes a night in is better than a night out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he have a picture of a man putting a woman over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
The hat too, yeah.
And the pants, but you can't see the pants. So for merch, you go to disciplinetherapy.launchcart.store/shop. We have a bunch of new stuff that hits every month and different categories as well. So go on there and check it out. And last but not least, if you can't find us, well, no, if you can't find yourself in front of a computer to watch us on our YouTube channel, don't worry, you could listen to us wherever you get your audio entertainment. We are on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Deezer, Castbox, Overcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and so many more. So that's that. And before we actually begin with the topic, you know how we do, we got to clear that energy. All right. Okay.
So this is episode 194. It's the first date and you guys barely know each other. Should you go 50-50? We also have a caller. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So, first and foremost, do you want to remain anonymous or do you want to state your name?
I remain anonymous.
Okay, great. So, did you hear the topic or do you need me to reiterate?
No, you said first date, if you guys should go 50-50, right?
Yes.
Um, so, I mean, I think everybody has their own kind of like what what works for them in a relationship. But me personally, I would say no, I would not go 50-50 on a first date. Because I think that like masculine and feminine energy and the balance of it in a relationship is very important. And in order for a woman to fully be able to be in her feminine, a man has to be in his masculine. And I think that when you go 50-50, that sets a precedent in the beginning of the relationship for what it's going to be. And I think that feminine has the ability to, she has freedom and ability to basically be her. And so that's why it comes down to a man like providing and protecting.
Have you ever been on a date where you did have to go 50-50?
Um, yeah, I want to say I have. When I first started dating, and I didn't really, I was young.
Right, right.
But to be honest, like anything that's kind of been that type of situation as I got older, I kind of just, I'm not the type that's gonna make anybody feel bad. Like if that's what works for you, that's what works for you. So
Right.
I might go 50-50, but we're not gonna go on another date again.
Okay. Oh no.
How do you, if you don't mind me asking, what's going on? Technical difficulties?
My mic just started going
Just one
down. Okay,
second.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm back.
Um. So, okay, if you don't mind me asking, your age.
I'm 26.
Okay, 26. That's like what, Gen Z? Too?
I don't know the
Okay.
I
terms for
don't know.
them. I have no
So
idea.
under 30, I think it's Gen Z.
Okay.
So
But I
26.
also think it may be important to know I was an only child, so I grew up with my tios and tias. So I grew up around like the 35 generation.
So a lot of their influence on you.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that because um like what you just said right now is in my mind what I would presume that a feminine woman, how she would behave, her mindset. You said, yeah, if we were to go half or if you were to front the bill, maybe I'm wrong, it's not verbatim, you wouldn't mind it, but it wouldn't be a second date. Now, with you being 26, do you also consider yourself independent? Do you work? Do you have your own car, place, stuff of that nature?
For the most part, I don't have my own place, but I mean that's so that way when I do get my own place, I could own it
That
type shit.
save up,
yeah,
of
that's
course.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Car.
Yeah, I have a job, I have a car, I work full time. So for the most part, yeah, I am pretty independent.
Okay. In your line of work, are you like do you have a prominent position? Are you like a manager or you know?
No,
Okay.
no.
So would you consider yourself independent? I don't know if you answered that.
Yeah, I would consider myself independent.
Okay. So considering yourself independent, I'm trying to see if it makes sense if you still want the guy to pay because you have your own money, you consider yourself independent.
Um,
Or do you?
I I believe so. It's funny. It's actually something I was thinking about recently. So
Oh.
I think that if I were to be in a relationship, the only time that I would allow myself to be fully dependent is like while I'm having a baby, because I think that's something that I would need to put a lot of energy in, and I would need somebody to lean on. I wouldn't really want to be have to be focused on work when I would want to be focused on my child. Um, But for the most part, while being in a relationship, I would like to have my own money and my own. If anything were to ever happen, if the relationship were to ever end, or if I were to ever lose like my husband or whatever, I would not want to be in a position where I can't take care of myself.
Mm.
Let me add.
Um,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead.
no, good.
But I don't. To me, that doesn't change the dynamic of what I still think the relationship should be, which would be the man paying for things. Because I don't think a man should pay for things. That's one thing I don't like about the new generation is when females just, oh, you need to pay for me if you want to be with me. I
Mm.
don't. The reason why if a man wanted to go 50-50 on the first relationship, I would still do that and just not go on a date with him is because if like I said, if that works for you, that works for you. I'm not gonna put you down for it. Like everybody's just different, but it doesn't work for me. So we're just not gonna go on another date. And it's not because, oh, because I'm a woman, I'm entitled to be paid for. I just number one, I want to be with a man who wants to do that because he's generous. I would like to be with somebody who is generous like that. But also, the way that I view men and women is, I think that women are really in tune with the spiritual world, and they bring a man in touch with that part of himself. Whereas a man is in touch with the world that we live in, the physical world. And that's why he's a provider and a protector, because he takes care of this world. And so I think what a woman introduces you to spiritually is priceless. And that's why that is our job. And your job is to provide and protect.
Where'd you learn that from? Have you been watching the shows?
Nah, to be honest, I always kind of thought that. But one time I probably was like 17 and I was on Instagram and I saw this like Native American quote, and it said something along the lines of woman is spirit and man is world, or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of, it put into words what I already kind of always believed, you know?
So I'm gonna ask you two questions. The first one is, do you said that you were raised with your aunts and uncles? Do your aunts and uncles also think the same way as you, or is there like a
Mm.
mixture?
To be honest, my grandma had 6 kids, so there is a
It's a
whole
half
lot
and
of
half.
thoughts going on. Yeah, but I mean, I would say honestly, they don't really get deep into deep conversations a lot, my family.
Mm,
But for the most part, what I see from my tios, they do pay for their women, but they also are not with women who are dependent. They are with women who can take care of themselves.
mm.
And then the women in my family are just very independent. They just take care of themselves in general.
Okay, and then my other question is, um, you said that okay, you said that you don't like how this generation, like the newer generation, how the females are like, well, if you want to go out with me, you have to pay. You know, you have to pay for my
Hmm.
nails and my hair and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Would you not in that same way of thinking, but would you want your boyfriend or your partner to pay for that stuff on his own?
Yes, definitely. Um, I don't. The reason why I say I don't like the way the new generation comes across is because it kind of comes across as you're not really thinking for yourself. You don't know why you're saying that. You just want it and you feel entitled to it, and you're saying it because it's like the new wave.
Mm,
I feel like I can respect it if you're saying it because you came up with your own thought process and you know why you feel that way. But you also have to be respectful about it. So like I would want my man to pay for everything, or at least want to pay for everything for me. But at the same time, I'm not just gonna completely be like, yeah, pay for this, pay for that, pay for that. When I really do care for somebody genuinely, I am very big on like that's one of my love
Y-
languages. Like I'm a
mm-hmm,
gift giver. I love
mm,
to give people gifts, and like not just random gifts, but like thoughtful gifts. Like what helps, like what's gonna make your life easier? What have you wanted for a long time? Like,
You know,
and so that's why it's important to me to be with somebody who is also generous and thoughtful like that.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be real. So I appreciate the conversation that we're all having. We are talking about barely knowing each other. Now, relationship, and this is where I'm gonna keep it real, even if that is a feminine woman, like people turn this up. This is the realest shit you will ever hear because people, other podcasts, relationship podcasts, even though we're not a relationship podcast, don't say this, but this is the truth, and I could talk from personal experience.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if she's a feminine woman, masculine woman. By the time you guys establish something and you get in a relationship, right? If you don't got it and she's working and she got money, she got it.
Mm.
Oh
That's
yeah.
part of her ride or die makeup.
Mhm.
She got it. She's not looking at it as, oh, he's inadequate or whatever it is, in that
Mhm.
regard. You know, perhaps if it's happening all the time, yeah. But if it's once in a while, she treats you, there's no, oh, he don't got it, she got it right now. That's part of her ride or die makeup. That is a true thing when she's with you, whether she's masculine or feminine, it doesn't matter. I think that if it comes down to it, you know, when a woman shows interest and she has her own money, she's gonna spend that on a man. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So all this gibberish that people are saying are lies. you know, if she don't got it, obviously.
Right.
But if she got it as well and she's independent and stuff in nature, like it's gonna happen. But we're like talking about like barely knowing each other. Like you guys just met wherever you guys met at. Talked for a couple of days. Some people don't even do that. The next day you go on a date. Would you still do 50-50? Would you not do it?
So I don't think that there should be 50-50 because, and not to like put men down or not in a bad way, but I think men are simple creatures. So if you want to set the precedent for what the relationship should be, so for me, I wouldn't want to go 50-50 because I don't want the relationship. I don't want him to expect that throughout the relationship.
hmm I'm gonna speak objectively for the guys, um, because like you guys barely know each other, right? And because
Mhm.
of everything that's going on in this world and these podcasts that are coming out, I'm not shaming anybody, or trying to downplay. But a lot of these podcasts are creating more trauma. Like they're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Mhm.
people are going out there to date and like, no, 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 I'm entitled. No, 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 I know my value. No, 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 blah, 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 blah. So now the man, he barely
Mhm.
knows you. And I'm gonna ask you how your social media is. He barely knows you. So now he's saying to himself, I don't know. My money's valuable. I don't know if I wanna pay the whole thing. I'm not talking about this is how I think. I'm
No, no,
just
no,
trying
right.
to speak objectively for the guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Especially the young generation. Like, miss, you might not find a man who's 26 that thinks like that, like you.
Yeah.
Or have you?
You understand? You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to speak
Yeah.
objectively for the guys right now who are watching these guys, maybe red pill or whatever, and saying, "Don't do this. Give as little as possible." Blah blah blah. You understand? They're going in the dating market with trauma. They don't know what to
Mhm.
expect. Um. So second, how is your social media? Posting provocative photos, stuff like
No.
that. Okay,
No, I
so
actually.
so you gotta understand. I'm sorry to cut you off. You gotta understand, guys are gonna look at that too. And
Mhm.
maybe they're not going to be as blunt as some guys and straightforward, but they will retain that in their mind. And now that will be the byproduct of them going 50-50. You see how everything is playing a factor? Like the girls that are posting like that online are part of the problem too. These red pillars, part of the problem. So much trauma. Now you go on a first date, barely know each other. That you haven't discussed this before even going out. The check comes, you both are looking at each other.
Okay, so that I can definitely understand. However, I think that it I mean, I think it takes time to learn discernment stuff. But I
hmm
think that if you want to go, you value your time, you value your money, so you don't want to waste all this money on these dates and they don't end up well. But if you want to go on a date with a woman, then maybe you should start becoming more selective with who you're going on a date with. So maybe don't ask the girls that have those provocative photos if that's how you feel about it. And if you see a girl that you like in public, I feel like yeah, a lot of guys will be like, "Oh, she's pretty. I'll ask her on a date." But there are guys who also look at how she carries herself. And if she seems valuable enough for that dinner that you pay for, then take her on a date. But if you can't afford it, or I mean, I would understand the like not wanting to waste your money, but I just think that that just means maybe you should also be more selective with who you take on dates.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good answer.
That is a very good answer. Does it
Um,
matter? Sorry. Does
uh,
it matter like where that first date is?
No, I don't think it matters what the first date is. I think it matters what the vibe is.
that's a good question.
Good.
I have a question. Do you prefer special treatment or equality?
Special treatment. But that's a personal
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
choice.
oh, I was testing her
She's
because if
good.
she
She's
said
good.
equality, I would have been, wait a minute. So you be okay with 50-50?
Are you in a relationship now?
No, I'm not. it's not easy to find somebody who thinks the same way.
Yeah. So let me ask
Like
you
you guys
this:
said.
when was your last date, and how did that go? If you don't mind me asking that.
My last date was maybe like a month ago, I want to say.
Oh.
Um, it went well. He did pay for everything. It was definitely interesting conversation. He was listened well. But not to get too personal on you guys, but I think he was asking for a little too much at the end of the date. So that
Oh,
went left from there.
that's what
Okay.
made you be like, sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
Because a lot of guys
exactly.
do think, well, if I'm paying for everything, if I'm paying for this whole date, then especially if he like, drops a
Yeah.
lot of money on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. I know this question, this answer, but if you don't mind, tell the audience region. Like, where do you reside?
In California.
Okay.
Nice.
So, have you ever been to like New York? Have you been in like Jersey, Miami, other states?
Um, no, not really. Like I've been to a couple other states, but not really where I was like going out and like talking to people like that.
Hmm.
I dated a guy from New York, but that was it.
How did you meet him?
Yeah.
He moved out to California, and I met him one night when I
Oh,
went
okay.
out.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that plays a factor. Like where you reside, the region and stuff. So that's why I wanted to
Yeah,
put
I
that
mean,
into
I
play.
think definitely it. I mean, with everybody, nature versus nurture. Wherever you grow up
Mm,
does have an effect on you.
okay.
Now, do your girlfriends think the same way? Like, do you hang out with people who also think the way you do?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, but I would say that most of them are pretty independent themselves. But yes, they do believe in men being providers.
Okay.
It's like the dating market is kind of like a flip of a coin right
Hmm.
now. But I think that you're saying men should vet more, and I agree. I've said this countless times about the
Mm-hmm.
prior podcast. But do you think that that's feasible to a lot of people? Cause me personally, I'm looking at this new generation as like instant gratification. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not
Hmm.
really that patient. Like they
Both,
don't.
either men or women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want instant gratification. So vetting could take a while. Like, do you think that that's like it's easier said than done, right? If it's harder to look
Hmm.
outside of you,
Yeah,
right? Do you think that that's something that can change, or do you think what I'm saying
I
is
think,
true? Like, is
and I do think that what you're saying is true. I do think that a lot of people are want instant gratification with everything, especially with how fast electronics are and social media and swipe left, swipe right. But I think it's possible. However, I think it's only possible if you think it's possible because I think really what it is an inner journey, it's an inner battle. So if you don't believe it's possible, then you're never going to get there. But if you believe it and you want it, then yeah.
Would you ever date long distance?
Mm, that's
no,
a hard one.
no, she's
Um,
taking too long.
I may like if I were to meet the right person, I don't think we'd be long distance for long because I don't think I could do that for a long time.
Sorry, I was
Mm,
having more technical difficulties. My mic
mm.
keeps dropping.
It's
Um,
like harder when you get older. Like when you're younger, you could do that. Then when you get older, it's a little bit harder.
what, long
Yeah.
distance? Oh,
Yeah, you have
mm.
to uproot
Have you ever
your life.
tried a long distance relationship?
The only relationship I was ever in, we were like 2 hours away from each other, but I instantly I was already moving to the town we got
Oh,
together.
Oh,
okay.
that's not long
So no, not
distance.
really.
Come on. I'm talking
2 hours
about
is crazy though.
I'm talking about, let's say, for example, hypothetically, we were in a relationship. I'm in New York, Long Island. You're in Cali,
Hmm.
wherever. Could be San Diego, could be LA, right? Like that. We're talking about like different state. 2 hours away, y'all could see each other 3 times a week. Y'all could see each other once a
um,
week.
honestly, like I said, like if I met the right person, like I would never say no to meeting the right person, but I couldn't be in a long distance relationship long term.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But I was in a long distance situation,
Mm.
but that
Oh.
was it.
Mm.
Was that
He
the
was in the
2 hour guy?
army.
Oh, he
That
was in
goes.
the army. Okay, okay. I thought it was like, was that the 2 hour guy?
No,
Nice. And what was your longest relationship?
almost 2 years.
Nice.
This mentality that you have now, have you always thought like this? You know, you mentioned when you were 17, you saw some stuff on Instagram. Have you always thought like this, or it changed along the way? Something triggered you to
Mm.
make the transition with the mindset?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always kind of thought like this, but I never really stood on it the way that I stand on it now.
Mm.
And I would say, 2 hour guy that I told you guys about had a lot to do with that.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that relationship definitely, I feel like what I went through, it definitely opened my eyes to make me basically stand on what I believe in and to not waver for anybody.
Mm.
Okay. My mind went somewhere else. I thought when you said that, it was that he was like teaching you or like
No.
showing you. No, it was the opposite. You
I
saw things
mean,
on your own and you're like, nope, that's not gonna happen next time.
yeah.
Got you.
The
Okay.
relationship definitely taught me things, but not in a way you would want to learn them.
Right. Oh, okay. All right.
Cool, cool.
Do you and your mom have like the same way of thinking, or is it like total? Is it total opposite? Is it the same, or is it like we're similar but not like identical?
I would say similar, not identical. Maybe even a little more different than similar, but
Yeah.
she has a hard time like uh I guess asking or expecting a man to pay for everything. However, growing up, I've never seen her with a man that didn't pay for everything.
Oh, okay.
But she is very like, oh no, like you don't have to do that and blah blah. Whereas I'm like, I'll ask him right now. Like,
Okay, that's
but
good.
yeah,
So you know what you want, and you're not afraid
yeah.
to say what it is. Okay.
I mean, it is a dominant approach with what you're doing. I think your mom's approach is a little bit more feminine. Um, I think your approach is a little bit more dominant, like masculine. Because I don't
Mm,
think about, like, listen, the man is vetting, the woman is choosing. So
mhm.
if you're vetting right, you see the mannerisms of a provider and protector. So you shouldn't even have to ask. That should make you feel uncomfortable. So the moment you're like asking, yo, you gotta do this, step up as a man, indirectly, may not be verbatim with those words,
Or
but
that energy.
indirectly, yeah, it's still it's still aggressive. Not with that energy is passive aggressive. With that energy is aggressive. So just keep that in mind.
Well, what I will
Like if
say
it
when I said I'll ask him right now, actually kind of meant my stepdad. He's the one that I'll
Oh.
ask.
oh
Honestly, when it comes to
oh
that with men, that's why I say, like, that's why I said if a man wants to pay 50-50, I'll pay it, but I just won't go on a date with him because I think the same way. I do think that that is an aggressive way to come out. And where I am a very assertive person, I don't want to be with somebody that I have to ask those things. So if I have to ask, I just don't go on another date with them. I really don't like to ask men for that because the man I want to be with is somebody that I don't have to ask.
mm,
You
okay.
know what? It sounds like you have a really good head on your shoulders. I liked your answers, and hopefully you can come back on the show. We could pick your brain some
Thank
more.
you.
We bring
Thank you.
we bring a lot of great guests on the
Yes,
show.
you.
Shout out to all of them that
Yeah.
been here prior, returning. We have a lot of intelligent guests,
Yes.
accomplished guests, intuitive guests.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
so I
there's
just
been
wanna
times that with her answers, I was like, oh, okay, I
uh,
see that.
I want
Okay.
to thank you for coming on the show,
Yes, definitely.
making time.
Mm-hmm.
once this plays back, you're gonna see Suhei and I attack this by sharing our perspectives.
Yeah.
Um, but appreciate it. If could reach out or vice versa. If you want to be on the show again, we got different topics.
Yeah.
Almost done with this season, but we're gonna continue the season. Season 19 is coming up. We got topics all the way to season 23.
And maybe you want
Oh,
to, come visit New York. You could be an in studio guest.
oh yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed it. I'm down to be on whenever.
All right. Sounds
Cool.
good.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I like her answers. She has some really good answers. For someone so at her age, I'm saying
Mhm.
you don't hear that type of that mindset for a 26-year-old in this day and age.
In this, like, I would consider in this um mainstream social media era. This is
Yes.
more like the technology era
Mm-hmm.
and media era than anything. So
Yeah.
that is like such a big influence to have someone with that type of mindset in this type of era
Mm-hmm.
where we transition to. So
She kind of reminded me of I hope I say her name right. Jolene, the young girl that was on a couple probably last or two.
oh yeah, Jolie.
Yeah.
Elena. Jolie
Yes,
Elena,
she's they have almost the
Mhm.
same
yeah.
way of thinking.
Yeah.
That's
She's
refreshing.
yeah, she's younger.
Oh.
So they live in the same state.
Oh,
But she's
really?
younger.
Oh, I didn't know that.
hmm Um
It's
yeah.
funny because I knew that we were going to have this topic, and I have two children, 24 and 27, boy and a girl. So I asked my daughter actually this morning when I was driving her to work. I was like, "Let me ask you a question. If you're going to go out on a date, do you think the man should pay everything, or would it be 50-50?" And my daughter said, "Well, if he's asking me, then he should pay, right? The whole thing. Um, but if he's asking me and I don't see him that way, then I will be like, you get the tickets and I'll get this. Like I will be sure to make it a 50-50 so that he knows I'm keeping it as a friend.
Mm.
But in total, she was like, I think if the man asks the woman out, he should pay.
I was gonna say that with this segment.
What?
Like who asks who?
Right. And then
I was gonna say that.
I asked my son, he's 27, and the first thing I said, who do you think should pay on should the man pay or should the woman? And first thing out of his mouth was, who asked who? I'm like, does that make a difference? He said, yeah. If the woman asks him, then they should go 50-50. It shouldn't be her paying it. But if the man asks the woman, then he should pay for it because he's asking for it.
First of all, I'm not letting the woman ask me out that I
Right.
barely know. That's number one. Number two, I'm not even accepting that. Now,
What? Them asking you out?
yeah, I'm not accepting it. Two, like I'm not gonna go along. It makes me uncomfortable. Those all balanced. Like you setting the tone here, you're gonna lead. Now, if we're in a relationship and she's asking me out, hell yeah, baby girl, I'm not bringing my wallet tonight. So you know that, right? you got it. Like you gonna spoil daddy today. They treat me like a king. So with movies, dinner, whatever, you got it. She's asking me, oh daddy, I want to treat you. Like I'm looking at it like that because like sometimes people forget. Like you've been in a relationship for so long, you stop dating.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
You stop putting in effort and stuff.
So for me, it's like that's what I think about that. Now, I believe accountability breeds responsibility. I don't think a feminine woman would want to go half because that's showing some level of responsibility and accountability. Women aren't like taught that. So I think the man should set the tone with, like the caller was saying, with that approach. He also shows that he's interested and whatnot. The little things, like women are looking at cues and indicators, right? Red flag, green flag, yellow flag. They may not know it verbatim, but subconsciously, thing that's going on in their head, whether their nervous system is up or is down. So that's what I believe about that. Now, barely knowing each other, me personally, I'm still doing it 100%. I'm not doing half. Barely knowing each other. Um, because just how I was raised, my comfort level and whatnot. right? I think I'm gonna also pick right. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? I'm not
Mhm.
saying I'm perfect. Maybe I've picked wrong, but me picking wrong, trust me, there wasn't a second one.
Mm.
Because I'm a conversationalist. So I think the way a person's mindset is how they're gonna behave.
Mhm.
Like
That's true.
what your actions are is dictating who you are. Like I said in the last show. So I dive into a woman's mind. Like I dissect that. I get deeper than the ocean most would drown in.
Mm.
So most women are not used to that.
No, definitely not.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're thinking, oh, guys always thinking with their dick, like they can't keep it in their pants and whatever it is. But like even if I'm thinking like that, I have control,
Mhm.
discipline. But I'm looking at, I'm playing chess. Like I'm 5 steps ahead. So I'm looking at the future.
Mm.
So your mindset will determine where I take us. Like I don't put it on the woman. The woman knows what I bring and feels a little bit of me. Even my kiss, dangerous. She gonna not want to leave.
Mm.
So it's always gonna come down to me dictating where we go. So it's like in a way, she gotta be on her best behavior. She's the manager. I'm the CEO.
Mhm.
I'm in charge of relationship and commitment too. As the man. So, I'm aware of these things. So, going out there into the dating market, yeah, I'm earning you, but you got to earn me too. It's not a
Mhm.
one-way street.
That's
So, that's
true.
why the conversation is paramount.
Definitely.
Um, so barely know, I'll reiterate, I'm going full. Like I feel like if it's even people may see this as weird, maybe the Gen Z,
Mm.
the social media people that are engulfed in that. But the traditional people won't see it being
Mm.
weird. So some people will see it this weird, what I'm about to say. It makes me feel uncomfortable. The check comes and she's pulling out her purse too.
Mm.
It's a little bit disrespectful.
Mm. That makes sense, though.
So maybe the Gen Z guys would be like, oh, this is cool. But
Like the old school guys that
yeah,
think
I'm
that way. Like,
anything I'm engaging in, anybody I met in my life, I'm not looking at it as regret. I win
oh.
or I learn.
Mm.
I never lose.
Mhm.
So, like, I'm not losing money. Tax write off or some
Yeah.
shit. Like, I'm not losing money. Like, sometimes you gotta spend money for time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not losing time because it's also a learning experience. Like, okay,
Definitely.
now I know what I don't like. So now the next woman that I date has the same mentality. My nervous system is up. I'm gone. See, that's a
Mm.
learning experience.
Damn, I just got a question that I wish I would have asked her. Um, I think if if a guy that I barely know asked me out on a date, I'm definitely bringing my money because you just never know, like what that. I mean, you said though, if it's somebody you barely know, but you guys have been talking, I guess you would know from the conversation whether or not he's gonna. He's. I would still bring my own money though because I don't
See,
know.
some women are different, right? So some women might be like, I need to be friends with you first. Like, I really need to get the
To know
nitty
you.
gritty before we even go on a first date. Not a lot of women articulate it like that. They
Mm-hmm.
just retain that to
Right, for
themselves because
themselves.
they're scared,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I'm interested in him, but I don't want him to run away.
Right.
But she's she's like restraining herself when he's pursuing. So there's not like really open communication.
Mm.
But the
Hmm.
woman that is a little bit more straightforward and blunt and thinks out loud will let that man know, oh, I don't do this. I don't give it up on the first night. I
Mm-hmm.
never do that. Oh, if we have sex, we're in a relationship. We're
Mm-hmm.
not just gonna be
Right.
like, what am I or whatever. Like,
Like
I
friends with
don't,
benefits.
this is not how I operate. Some of them will verbalize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they already know their worth without saying, like, the women today, like, oh, I know my worth or whatever it is, pumping their chest. Like, they say they know their worth with different word choice. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving it up. I never did that. Blah blah blah. Blah. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta get to know you. It works for somebody. Some people it doesn't. Maybe
Yeah.
that guy is like, oh, I don't do friends, who are women. So
Oh, that
that's
makes sense.
just
Mm-hmm.
it's just not gonna happen. Like you already got a bunch of male friends. You're lumping me in the same category. So now there's a disconnect because there's miscommunication.
Right.
If she's articulating further, this is why I want to be friends. Yeah, I'm interested in you. Those guys, I'm not.
But then would she want to be friends, or is it that she just wants to get to know him a
So
little
she's,
bit better and she doesn't know
yeah,
how to say
yes,
it?
because she's going through the steps.
Right. Okay.
You know, but this is what I'm talking about. Like a lot of these, whether they're women, there's no age preference here,
No, definitely.
or age base. No matter their age, they're thinking like this. They're just not articulating to the T.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it might work out. Like this is the biggest problem why certain things don't work out, or there's a big disconnect, miscommunication.
Ugh,
So
like crazy.
sometimes it's like the woman is thinking of something, but she just gave him a little bit. He's now looking at it like, yo, she's playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, like she's
Right.
playing games, but she's really interested, but she's not going in depth to make him understand.
It's almost like, have you ever seen that meme where, well, it's not really a meme, but it's like you only see, let's say, this much of an iceberg, right? But on the bottom, it's something huge.
Yeah.
It's like she only says this much of what you can see, but
Yeah.
really she has all that she has.
And the thing is too is the man just quits.
Right, he gives
He
up.
does because this is where I'm going with this. He doesn't pull it out of her. And I'm not saying it's a man's responsibility to do that. But I'm just saying he quits. He doesn't pull it out of her. Like he's not saying friends. Well, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah.
What's
Like
friends
I'm
to you?
interested in you.
Right.
To make her like tell you
Open
the
up more.
rest. Open
Mhm.
up more. Exactly. Open up more to be what it is, because you gotta understand, feminine women, like submissive women, are vulnerable. But you
Mhm.
gotta get to that trust level. So they barely know each other. Obviously, there's no trust.
Right.
It's like probably 5%.
Mhm.
Like I'll trust that we could go on the first date, but if I got my own car, I'll meet you there. I don't even
Right.
trust you to pick me up. So it's kind of like 2 to
Mhm.
5% of trust. The 95 is waiting, but there's that retainment of
Right.
those thoughts,
Mhm.
you know, and then that other counterpart is not going more in depth to get the answers.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not saying it's his responsibility,
Right.
but it's like they're both just thinking.
Right, not verbalizing.
And they both are interested in each other, and you could read their thoughts like those voiceovers in movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could read their thoughts and hear their thoughts, but they're not speaking those things. So each don't know. Right. So
Right.
he's thinking she's playing. She's thinking he's not being respectful. He's doesn't respect my boundaries. He's just after the cookie or pussy, whatever. Like he's not, you know, he's not gonna be fully invested. He's not thinking about future. He's thinking about tonight. You know, these are thoughts.
It could also be because she's not verbalizing, like she's missing his cues of losing interest. Does that make sense? So because she's not speaking everything that's on her mind about a certain thing, and in his mind he's like, you know what, I'm gonna back up and not, this is gonna be the last date. We're not gonna go out. In her mind, she's like, this date went great. Everything's gonna be fine. No, you didn't verbalize. You didn't express yourself the right way. How is he supposed to know? And vice versa. How is she supposed to know that you maybe have an issue with something that she said?
Yeah, so now this is when ghosting play a factor.
Yes.
And then it builds certain trauma with other people, like, oh,
Yeah.
the woman, what did I do?
Exactly.
Or the man, maybe like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I think there's a big level of fear, which is why ghosting happens. You know, it's a childish act,
Just be upfront.
but not everybody can be.
That's true.
You know, so it's no matter if you were ghost or you ghosted, it's all a learning experience. Some people learn from it, and you know, will be like, yo, communication got to be on the table,
Yeah.
100%. And other people just keep doing it.
'Cause they don't realize.
Because they might just be like, we're adults, like what's explained, what's understood doesn't need to be explained.
But
So I'll go.
But sometimes things aren't understood.
Yes, I believe that's also a narcissistic mentality. Because
Isn't that interesting?
why?
what's said doesn't need to be what's understood doesn't need
No,
to
no,
be
no, no,
said.
no.
Oh.
So the ghosting I meant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a narcissistic mentality. Um, because like you're just like a projecting. You're just
Mm,
assuming like I get it, like he should get it or she should
right.
get it.
You should know what I'm thinking.
So in a way, right? That's a blessing whether you got it done to you or you did it, like not you
Mm-hmm.
did it. The
It
person that
could
did it
be.
is toxic,
Mm-hmm.
but the person that got it done to them it's a blessing because that like that's an indicator of, oh, this shit wasn't gonna work out in the first place because she has or he has, because if it happened to her, if it happened to him, so she has or he has communication issues. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not they're afraid of the intense conversations. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're afraid of conflict.
Yeah.
So how are
That's
they gonna
true.
even be in a relationship? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not always gonna be good.
Right. That
So
makes a
how are
lot of
they gonna
sense.
be able
Yeah.
to handle it? So that, like I said, I play chess.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're thinking about, maybe I'm helping them right now. If they're
You're
thinking
helping
about the
me.
future, they're like, oh, thank you, God. Like you saved me because this would have been chaotic down the
Mm-hmm.
line. She would have been passive aggressive if she's a shy person and doesn't like to communicate. She would have, and that passive aggressiveness would have led to resentment. That resentment eventually turns into disrespect, her
Mm-hmm.
not following rules, whatever, abiding by this, being not being submissive, whatever it is. Now he's getting out of it, or with her, she's looking
Mm-hmm.
at it like, oh, like you know, like I'm not gonna be able to articulate stuff here. I'm scared to tell
Mm-hmm.
them this, that, whatever.
A lot of
You know,
misunderstandings
yeah,
that will cause a lot of problems.
assuming and
Mm-hmm. When you told the caller that you feel like this generation is it's a lot of instant gratification, I feel like because of that, because I agree with you, like everything is so you want something to eat but you don't want to cook, call Uber Eats or whatever. You don't have time to go food shopping. They'll bring your freaking groceries to your house.
I never did Uber Eats.
I I did it at work, but on my own, no. It was always with a group.
Mm.
But I feel like they feel like jumping into sex is almost like a shortcut into starting a relationship.
Mm.
I feel because
Mm.
of
That
this, because of how it is, everything is, I want this, I want that. You want something, I'm going to order it. When you go on Amazon, you can get something. If you pay $14 extra, you can get it tomorrow. You see what I'm saying?
now I agree with that to an extent. I don't think that's a congruent mindset. It might be
No.
one sided. Maybe the woman. Remember back in the
Oh, I
days
see
they
what you're
say
saying.
women
Mm-hmm.
use sex to get love
Mm-hmm.
and men use love to get sex.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the woman might be thinking, because it goes back full circle with the
Mm-hmm.
with the feminine woman I was talking about earlier, if we do this, we go together.
Right.
Cause I don't just, you know what I'm
Do
saying?
this.
Do
Right.
this. Or maybe the man thinks like that.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes it's not a congruent mindset. It's
Of the
not
both
the
of them.
same. Yeah, they're
Mm-hmm.
thinking the same
Right.
in that regard. It's always one.
Right. That's true.
So um oftentimes that level of intimacy, I would call about this in my lifestyle dom drop.
Mm-hmm.
Like the men are like done. So at that moment, he kind of got the end goal. What
Mm-hmm.
is the woman doing now to keep the interest, to get another round, to
Mm-hmm.
get it consistent, to get me to commit? You understand?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask her this question, but we already had this question prior. Is it easier for a man to commit than it is for a
Oh.
woman to submit? Like which one is easier? You can't say both. You can't say it's one. It's
Mm-hmm.
one you gotta pick. Maybe it's both happening. Like it's harder for men to commit. It's easier for women to submit. Um, maybe it's both happening, but you gotta pick one. I
Mm-hmm.
always pick um it's easier for women to
I
submit
picked that one too.
because I look at submission like in many different forms,
Right.
not just one form, because
Right.
there's different types of women.
Mm-hmm.
So even the dominant woman or the masculine woman submits.
Mm-hmm.
So different circumstances, maybe domestically only, maybe when we're going to eat, indecisive, whatever it is, she submits. There's no way she's leading there every day. It's impossible because she's out of her nature.
Right.
Eventually, she gets back into it.
Yep.
So that one's easier. Shit, a lot of them submitting online.
Yeah.
Them showing their body is submitting.
That's true.
They think it's control. They think it's empowerment. They think it's sexual liberation. They tricked them. Feminism tricked them. But it's actually them submitting to many people.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this question: is it just a man committing to one woman, or can he commit to more than one woman?
You can commit to more than one.
Okay, so then it's not, because I think a lot of times actually from before when we had that topic, I always thought is it easier for a man to commit to one woman, or easier for a woman to submit? And I always obviously picked the woman, but that's an interesting question. Like, would he commit to multiple?
Most of the time, especially in this, I wouldn't say this modern era, because like commitment is like kind of foreign. Let's say back in the day, right? Most of the time, the man committed because there was a prerequisite to his commitment. So, for example, we gotta go on 8 dates. Other cultures, you can't touch her until you're ready to commit. So there was always a prerequisite. But if it was man's idea, if it was man's, maybe they think their rules or their prerogative, then they would be like, yo, I'm a hit. You know what I'm saying? But there was certain restrictions back then, the prerequisite to his commitment. So you got to look at it in every different era too. You know what I'm saying? Where we are today.
Yeah.
You know, so like commitment, oftentimes, like that comes because the woman is actually not all women, but most women are giving you an ultimatum.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not like they wanted to, you know. So
the man you're talking about,
yeah,
they want to.
the men. So they were doing it. Those special guys, like I never had a woman that gave me that. I'm a Scorpio. You tell me to do something, I'm gonna do the opposite on purpose.
You never had a woman
So I never had a woman that would give me an ultimatum and I simped into it.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to show dominance? I'm going to show you dominance. And I'm going to show you I win at it. So, like, don't try it. You're going to get more being submissive. So for me, it's like most men cave in. So they, like, this is how you see the relationship, how it's turning for the worse, because they were never really interested in that. That's why I say special men go out there wanting to commit. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell too, because they're present there 100%. They're honest, they're straightforward, they're dominant, they lead.
So let me ask you this question. Those men who are pressured into it, is it still a commitment on his part if he was pressured into it where he didn't really want it? Let's say she got pregnant and now they're pressuring him into marrying her, but he still has, he's still stepping out. Is it still a commitment just because they're married?
Technically, yes.
Because they're married.
It's not even that. Like, commitment can be, we go together.
Right, but he also goes with 2 other women down that way. So is it still a commitment, or is it a commitment because he's committing to all of them?
Yeah, it's still a commitment.
Oh, you see how you learn
things
here?
Or he could be committing to his wife and then not them outside of his relationship.
What do you mean? I need an explanation on that one. He's committing to his wife, but he's not committing to them, even though he's still seeing them.
Yeah.
But he's not committing to them.
Yeah.
How?
So it depends on the man, what his form of commitment is.
So can we use you as an example? Can you explain that to me then now with you as the example?
Well, I live a different life.
I know, I just thought about that.
So let me see. Okay, so if I say that, all right, so there are certain tests for her to being a submissive.
Okay.
The submissive level is the commitment. Because at the end of the day, when like she's going through these tests, she's getting me. And
Okay.
I want to elaborate. Her getting me, because some people might not understand that. I want to be more on a spiritual aspect. Her getting me is now me being vulnerable,
Okay.
making her, letting her see things people don't. Social media don't.
Okay.
Hear things social media don't.
Um,
Parts of me, the provider,
Gotcha.
protector. Um, you know, like I'm fucking rude. I'm an asshole, but she gets kindness until you act like people outside.
Gotcha.
Then you need to administer discipline in some type of form. You know, so she's getting me. So I
Okay.
wanted to elaborate that because they could be thinking, oh well, Polly, is she really getting him?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so men, right? I want to make this perfectly clear when I emphasize, are stoic by
Okay.
nature.
Okay.
You know, we're not taught how to be vulnerable. So
Okay.
when the woman starts getting you, that's kind of like he's giving his heart.
That's your That's your form of commitment.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how I would talk about the regular guy. I'm just talking
Right.
about my
Right.
lifestyle.
Right. Right.
Because trust and respect mutually is the foundation to the lifestyle elevating and the relationship, the dom sub relationship dynamic.
Right.
So like when she's getting parts of me, you know, that's me committing. So now it's like, oh, you're my sub exclusively to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So part of that comes with rewards too. That's commitment.
So can I ask this? So in your lifestyle, with that example that you gave,
I don't want to talk about it here.
no, I know, but I it's just to make the connection.
Patreon, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe.
So her doing, the submissive things that's getting you, that is your form of commitment. And in the what I just said, like how can he commit to her and still be someone else? You can still be with, let's say, another woman who maybe is still learning and hasn't gotten you yet, but that's not you. You don't have that commitment yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So she's not getting those rewards.
Right. All that,
So
your vulnerability. You're not showing
yeah.
that to her, but you're showing it to her.
Yeah.
Got you. You see,
Yeah.
I needed like an explanation.
Yeah,
That
so
makes sense.
it's a test and then it's a earn. You know, first you learn and then you take away the L. Earn. So
You're on a roll today.
it comes down to that. And I'm just talking about my life. Like I don't want to get things misconstrued. I want to stay on topic.
Right, right.
But maybe the regular man and woman, like I said, it's subjective how they commit. Maybe a form of commitment could be the actual material, the engagement ring, actual marriage papers and stuff like that. It could be
So it's subjective.
it could be moving in together. It could
That's
be
true.
it could be like I spent this bag on you and I'm frugal. Like I'm cheap.
Gotcha.
I got the money, but I just don't feel like. But it's a special occasion, so I spent that. But like that you're special. Like I don't do that.
Right.
Like it. Like I'm saying, it's subjective. It
Right.
depends on the man
Yeah.
and women. So I don't think now that we're in a different type of world, like Google's even wrong. It's not one thing that everybody followed
No,
back in the
it's true,
days
yeah.
because there's different people that one word is different for everybody. Commitment, submission,
Yeah.
power, whatever. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yep, all that's different. You're right. It's very subjective. What else? Because we did these.
Yeah, so I believe that women like special treatment. I don't think they like equality.
Special treatment, or rather, let me
Yeah, because
equality with
often,
another woman
because
or equality
often,
with the man.
I'm speaking in general. Oftentimes, women pick and choose. I'm not picking on them. I'm just stating facts. I don't hear this commonly with men, so I'm just talking about what I've seen and experienced. Women pick and choose when when they want equality to be present. But the
That's true.
reality is, because of their biological makeup, they want special treatment. And we can talk about different things: job, corporation, whatever. No, you're the female manager. Hustle like a man. That shit is heavy. Do it. You signed up for it. But they want special treatment. Yo, I just did my nails. Oh, you see my nails? They looking fly. I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
But it's like, wait a minute. Now you want special treatment here? That's just an
Mhm.
example.
Mhm.
The relationship 100%. They don't want equality. It's just the matrix,
Yeah.
right? We're like, a lot of us are stuck in it. So they making them think that they really care about equality, but it's not true.
Right. So, in your eyes, do you feel like a woman should want special treatment?
Yeah,
That
a
makes sense.
100%.
Because that makes her
Not
feminine.
not in the workplace. If you choose to go out there and do what a man do, I want to put more context, because they're gonna be like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? It's very, very important that
That's
we give
true.
context.
Yeah.
Not in the workplace. If you choose to do what a man do, is he you
You gotta
forfeit that.
do everything right.
Yes, you forfeit that. Now in the dating market, if you're entering trying to be masculine there and implementing feminism, you forfeit that. You forfeit the traditional treatment. You forfeit special treatment. And they could be in direct correlation. Some men might think me giving you traditional treatment is special treatment because you're my girl. Do the acquaintances on Instagram do that? I don't know their real name. They think we friends. I don't know their real name. We ain't friends. You see what you know about me, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get that?
Right.
No, so it's special treatment. So I think that women like that because there's a little girl inside every woman. They wanna feel that, like, special treatment, that love. Oh my God, like, he protects me. The rude boy that's good to me with street credibility, like the Destiny Child soldier track. So I think every woman wants that because it's just that operative word, feeling special.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know what I'm
think so
saying?
too.
Feeling different. And it's like it puts them in that realm of, I'm valued.
I agree with you, and I also agree with what you said before. Like it, it has people, it has women fooled into thinking that they want to be equal across the board because I feel like women think, well, if I'm equal, I'm gonna get equal pay, equal time, equal all that stuff. But in reality, you don't really want that. You want to be treated special because didn't your dad treat you special? Isn't that what you know, kind of? So yeah, that was a. I like the way you put that.
Yeah. So if most of the time there's a lot more independent women out in the world than women who are dependent upon the masculine. There's not a lot of dependable men out there,
That's
and
true.
if they are, they're they're transitioning. They're not staying strict and stubborn in their values. But when the woman is entering the dating market, moving independently, she's prone to want to engage in 50-50. Kind of rhyme.
It is ironic, and that's
I said it kind
totally.
of rhymed,
Oh,
not
rhyme.
ironic.
I thought you said it's kind of ironic because it's
It
true,
is
and
ironic too. It is ironic too.
I think it's because of like how you said they're scared because they don't know what to expect. Maybe they have their own trauma from meeting a guy and he starts out one way and then he ends up completely different than what she thought. It.
And that independence, that byproduct of independence, could start in the littlest form, the domestic environment. So she grew up with just her mom, and her mom is like beating her in the head with that. Now it's
That's
embedded
true.
into her subconscious. So she goes out there, and it's like, well, if a man is willing to offer, like, don't like do that. Just kind of be like a partner, like an equal partner with me. Like, help me with this, that. Like, you don't have to do everything. I work too. I do this and do that. Now my mindset, my circumstance. I like, sometimes you can't choose who you fall for, right? So I might meet a woman who's already independent, has her own money. I know that I'm gonna go in there wanting to pay everything. This is remember this at this point I'm switching it now because we were talking about barely knowing each other. Now we're actually in a relationship. So I'm expecting to pay everything, the money that she has saved for us. You
Unless
see,
she
so I'm
wants to
breaking the
treat you
matrix. Yeah, I'm
to
breaking the
movies.
matrix there. So IRA, life insurance, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So me, I'm looking to do that because you never know what will happen in the future. You
That's
know, you
true.
got guys that die on the job, you got guys that get hurt on the job, they can't provide anymore. We got to talk about them too because sometimes those type of concepts are not in feminist rhetoric.
Right.
Like they
That's
try to,
true.
they forget about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't even know they exist. You got guys that are in manufacturing, like everything that is created, the backbone of manufacturing, like they're using certain tools and stuff that is dangerous and whatnot. Safety and OSHA is paramount policies to know, so you know you don't get hurt. Men are in these dangerous jobs, so by him wanting to provide, he's already putting his neck out there to risk. You know, um, I think that for me personally, the money that she's making, save, because it's hard. Like my shit is going down. I said this in episode 137. You know, so it's like gonna be harder for me to save unless, like I said, I'm doing all these other things like IRA, investing, life insurance, and stuff. Then I'm taking certain amounts out of my paycheck and whatnot, and it's building. I'll forget about it. But she has the luxury of building, so now it's like it's not as much stress with her. That's my like my potential dynamic, how I want it to be. But you got other relationships that may require 50-50, you know, and it doesn't make him less of a man. I'm not saying I would do it, but I'm looking objectively. It doesn't make him less of a man if he's still providing as a man. You know, maybe mechanics.
Or
She don't even know where the oil goes.
mowing the lawn or whatever. Yep.
Yeah, in the car. She don't know what a valve is and what pistons are. Like she's unaware of that.
I know where the gas goes.
You know, like how to navigate through a toolbox.
Right.
You know, so it's certain things that I think that we tend to forget the caveman era because money is involved.
Yeah.
Status and all this stuff is like, oh, because I make this most money. You see how much I got on Instagram? See how much followers? So I got power.
That's crazy.
So I come into the dynamic equal or whatever it is. And it's like, if you lose all this tomorrow, what are we? Who are you? Who are you now?
Yep.
Because all of that is pseudo. So like imaginary.
Right.
You can't take it to the grave. So who are you if you don't have those?
No.
Man and woman.
Yeah.
So I think that some might, depending on the region and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It might work for them, but if they're still able to retain their core energy, it works for some people. You know, and some people don't like it. Doesn't make them feel comfortable. Maybe the woman feels disrespected. And you want me to do 50-50? Maybe the man feels disrespected. I mean, do 50-50? What? I can't be with you unless this changes. It's not gonna work out. Okay, let's go our separate ways. Wish
Wait.
you the best.
He feels disrespected if she
She's-
goes 50-50?
Yeah, inviting that concept.
I was gonna say, like people in a relationship, or rather like marriages, let's say, where something happens and now the woman has to pick up the slack and do more 50-50. A lot of the times, those men, they're already beating themselves up because that's not what they're used to. You know what I mean? So I do believe that because I've seen that. I've witnessed it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's true.
sometimes it's kind of like do this for the short time, then like when I get up,
Right.
I'm gonna take care of her.
Right.
Sometimes it's not even forever.
Right.
And
It's
and
only
the
for a little
woman,
bit.
yeah, and the woman might understand that. Like it really
Yeah.
depends on who you choose. Like it's not
Exactly.
like I was telling the caller, it's not just the man vetting. The woman chooses because she's the one that's submitting, right? She has to allow.
Right.
I want to keep going on dates with him. I want to keep allowing him to court me. I want to continue allowing him to text me and stuff like that. I text back fast. I'm interested. I don't take 5 hours to text back
Right.
or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So it comes down to like it being really mutual interest, you know, for it to like work no
Yeah.
matter what
Yep.
circumstances come about. It's like you think of together.
Yeah.
Now sometimes the modern like couples, and I don't like like people think I'm picking on them or whatever, but I'm just being real. Sometimes the modern couples, they don't enter the dynamic of thinking forever. Like the
Right.
man don't have the 5 year plan for them and stuff. It's going day by day, go with the flow. You might hear that come out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my mindset is that's an indicator of he's already displaying to you that he's not gonna lead there.
Right. So
Because
red
by going
flag.
with the flow, it's like he's saying whatever's clever,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
We'll see what happens.
And now when you look at it on that concept, the modern couples are not lasting
Mm.
because they're not really getting together for the right reasons,
Yeah.
genuine reasons, meaningful, trying to build meaningful things, trying to build,
Right.
operative word in general, so most of the time it's serial dating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like you got to understand that the people that don't serial date, they invest their all. Because that's all
Mm.
they know how to do. That's why they don't. So it's like, remember when I told you, like, she got to get me, like, earn me
Mm-hmm.
as I'm earning her? Earning me means the vulnerability, what I'm going to provide, this and that, right? The dominance she witnesses. Um, so it's like, you got to understand that I believe those are gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sex too. It's real good. Those are gifts. So how does it make sense if I'm just like I ain't Oprah? Oh, everybody get a free car. Everybody in the audience. What?
You get
That's
some of
not.
me. You get some of me. You get
That's
some of
not.
me.
That's not real.
Right.
So now you got to understand, even on the spiritual aspect, like a divine masculine cannot spread himself thin
Hmm.
because there's a lot of life force
Mm.
that the stuff that I'm giving, even being around me, is healing. You
Are you
see?
talking about sex?
No, no,
No, no,
no.
no. Your
My
life.
presence. My present
No.
is a presence. My
Yes.
presence is a present.
Yeah.
So, like, even that,
Mm.
so you got to understand that if you know your value or gifts that you're going to provide, you're not a serial dater. You're actually more strategic on the chessboard. You take your time. Yo, make a move, make a move. Don't rush me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're strategic.
Right.
You're gonna make a move, but you're thinking of the three moves that you're gonna make after they make the move, and
Mm-hmm.
then after that you make
Right.
the move. So you're thinking about that. So they're more strategic. They're calculating. They study more.
I also feel like those type of people take more time in between
Yeah,
dating. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
don't just be like, well, that didn't work out. Let me jump on 10. I don't think that that's,
yeah.
especially if a lot of times you can have a great, like,
Conversation.
relationship conversation wise. Conversation could be great on the phone, but then when you meet somebody, there's no spark. It's not the same. You know what I mean?
I've had that.
Isn't that weird?
I've had that.
That's very strange because on the phone,
Right.
people be like, "Oh yeah," and you're like, "This is amazing," and then when you meet them, it's like,
Yeah, it
"Are you
was
the same
like
person
I was doing all the talking,
in
and it
person?"
was like one word answer.
Oh my gosh, that's
One
awful.
word answers, and I was I'm like, she's not interested.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me get the check.
right.
Didn't
But that's what
stay
I'm
too
saying.
long.
Then you kind of like have to regroup, not because you feel bad or anything like that, but it's you're sharing your energy.
Yeah, and sometimes like with me, because I'm different, right? Like the patriarchy is not invested in the female's pleasure.
Ain't that
So
the
when
truth?
you look at someone like me, you're like, oh shit, he is. But it's kind of contradiction, right? Because he's like, I see him as a masculine man.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're looking at like, that's why feminists would be attracted to. They're not supposed to be.
Mm.
Because now they're looking at it on a selfish aspect,
Mm.
pleasure
Makes sense.
that they're just chasing. They don't give a fuck what I stand for. They subconsciously don't like it.
Right.
They hate it. Strong word. They hate it.
Mm.
So even in that regard, that sometimes the situation where it's like now in person and it's not happening in her mind that she's not gonna articulate because she don't want to sound like a hoe is why are we talking? Like why are we even here?
Oh my
I thought we would have already been in the bedroom.
Right.
Like, why are we even going on a first date? Like, ain't what? Like, you a dominator.
Right.
You pleasure women. You know how to do it. Like, why why you not doing it with me?
It's almost like, didn't we get to know each other
Over
on
the
the
phone?
phone?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then there's a misunderstanding
Yeah.
because on my part, I'm like, what's going on? She ain't talking or
Right.
whatever. And on her part, she's thinking of all these things, not articulate. And I'm throwing darts in the dark.
Right,
I don't know
right.
if this is true. Thinking, all these things I'm stating prior, but not wanting to articulate it because I don't want to show that I'm leading.
Mm.
I don't want to sound like a hoe. I don't want him
Mm.
to lose interest because I'm doing that, but I'm horny.
Oh, Lord.
And you know how to tame that beast inside me. Like, you know how to do it. A lot of men don't.
Right.
So, in that regard, it's like that can play a factor as well pertaining to me. I'm not talking about everybody else. I don't know why
Right.
that happened to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it does. But you're right. The conversation is different from actually the physical human
Yeah.
interaction. You know, so
That's always so weird to me, because if you can have a conversation, then why would it change face to face, except for like the reasons that we just stated right now? But even then, like, this is your first time sitting and actually speaking and not on the phone. I would
it,
go to town.
it comes down to sometimes
Expect.
what people see to believe versus what you actually tell them.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You
That's
see,
true.
so if I, okay, let's say we were to date, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, yo, I wrote this poem.
Oh,
I
that's so
wrote this
nice.
poem. It's like an erotica poem. And you're like, oh, let me hear it. Let me see it. I send it to you. You're reading that and you're starting to build images in your head
Mm.
because it's from, and specifically from who sent it.
Mm.
So now you're envisioning me
You
doing
it.
that to you.
Mm.
So now you're like, cut to the chase. See, the regular dude gotta beg for that to get that. He gotta beg dates and whatnot. Now at this point, she's like, I'm ready to give it up.
Right. That does make
So,
sense.
but these are all things that are retained. She's
Mm.
not articulating
Right.
because, like I said in one of the couple of shows prior, the metaphoric cage that women are like born into,
Mhm.
that the metaphoric cage of judgment, the cage of blah blah blah, this and that. So in that regard, it's like I can't keep it real. I can't keep it real. You do,
Like, he's gonna think bad
but
about
he's
me.
gonna think bad about me, and it's not gonna happen. I don't want to miss my chance.
Mm.
So I think in those regards, this is one of the reasons. As I got older, I mention my real name when I go out. I don't say discipline. This is why when I go over, I don't say I'm a dominant right away
Because you want
in
them
the
to
lifestyle.
see that they
Yeah,
care
because
about
you
you.
gotta understand that you gotta know the man prior to getting the dom. The dom is the reward. It's the end goal.
That's so interesting.
You know, so if you get that right off the bat, the relationship is just built off that.
Right.
So now I got a bratty chick who's acting bratty because she can't get Paul's dick or the dominance
Right.
tied up and whatnot. So it's like the way we started, giving up on the first day. I'm looking at me giving it up. You ain't giving up to me.
Okay, you give it up.
I'm giving you the best. It might be good, but you gotta understand there's very few. So I'm like, if I'm giving it up on the first, that's what she's getting used to. She's gonna build it off that. So now she's gonna be like, the moment it's not happening for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, now you see her rebelling.
It's almost like what the caller said. She doesn't do 50-50 because she doesn't want to set that precedence that we're going to do
Same
50-50.
thing.
The
So
same
I'm
thing.
setting the tone of no, we are waiting.
Yes. See the
We
spark?
are testing ourselves. We are challenging ourselves.
Yes.
Let's wait a month. Let's do this. I don't do spontaneous.
Right,
A lot of people do spontaneous. That's why they got unplanned things. I plan things. So I don't do spontaneous. Understand that if it's going to happen, you're going to get that text. When I get there, be on your knees, blah 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 blah.
Lord
This is gonna
Jesus.
happen and whatnot. You're not just gonna like guess. Oh, is it? You're gonna know.
Right.
So you're gonna know that the right panties to wear. You're gonna know that underneath. You're gonna know how to be. You're gonna know coming in there like I know
Do
what
XYZ.
I know. Yes,
Right.
I know exactly what I'm getting into. Not like, well, is it gonna happen? No, it's not a month yet. We didn't
Ladies.
go on these amount of dates yet. We don't. I don't feel like it's to that point where we actually are. We obviously not gonna know each other to a T.
Right, right.
But at the end of the day, men and women, um, being attracted to each other eventually is gonna happen. Like we're
Right.
not kids.
Right. So
But at
the
some point, you need to put um steps to it because that is what's gonna build the relationship for you to understand that's what it was versus you just starting out from the sexual environment or
mm-hmm.
the sexual act, and that's all it's built on.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So there's a method to the madness.
Mm-hmm. So one good thing that I've learned from this conversation right now about you is that a woman will definitely know when to wear the good bra and panties and not waste your time. Like, could this be the day? No. Darn, could this be the day? No. You're gonna know
Yeah,
because he's gonna tell you
and the thing is,
wear the blue one, wear the purple,
the
whatever.
thing is, the few men like me that live this lifestyle, their most valuable asset is discipline and control. They exercise control in all things, even with themselves. So even if she's begging for it, it's like, well, you have your rules that you follow yourself. You're
Mm-hmm.
not just a narcissist where you're like, oh, there's rules you're gonna follow. I follow
Not me.
rules.
Right.
You're not my boss, but I'm already holding myself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody to hold yourself accountable if you're not doing it. That's
Right.
me.
Right.
So you got rules to follow, and so do I. So you might be begging for it or whatever, but it's I got rules.
Right.
So it's not gonna happen until this time because like, I'm putting a standard
Mm-hmm.
of how this dynamic is gonna be, and also subconsciously she's learning he's leading
Mm-hmm.
because he's actually dictating what's happening and whatnot, when and why. You know, and I'm choosing right. Some people might say, well, she ain't gonna wait for you long. Yeah, she will. She
Mm-hmm.
will because it's who you're choosing to.
Mm-hmm. That's
You know what
very
I'm saying?
important.
Just like when the caller was saying how these guys should be like, oh, well, if you're seeing that she's pretty and she's out there online posting provocative photos, her booty is clearly facing the camera. You know what it looks like.
Right. Be more selective.
You know, you might be prone to getting that type of woman where
Mm-hmm.
she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna wait.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta already study those mannerisms from the beginning
Yeah.
to see that this is where this is gonna lead. A lot of men, or I could say males, because to get to men is divine. There's levels. A lot of males don't know how to do that. They don't. It's unfathomable for them. It flies over their head.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. Best
Mm-hmm.
looking chick, and she's giving me attention. It's reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you know. So they
Definitely.
fall for that. They don't read in depth.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe they're
Why
not in
is
depth themselves.
why is she interested in me? Are you
Mhm.
interested in what a dom is willing to provide or what I'm willing to provide?
Mm.
Like why? Like they're not doing even the internal work, the outer work,
Yeah.
and then the counterpart work. Like they're not working on them. Like they're not getting in their mind.
Right. They're not getting to know them either. You're
Yeah.
saying, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
So final thoughts.
Final thoughts on if they barely know each other, if it should be 50-50. Well, I think that if a man asks a woman, he should pay the bill and it should not be 50-50. And I think, in this day and age, we can't say that a woman won't. But if a woman, asks the guy out on a date, then it should be 50-50. She shouldn't pay for everything. It should be 50-50.
If the woman asks, it should be 50-50?
Yeah.
I mean, they're your final thoughts.
That's what I'm going with, people, and I'm sticking with that.
So,
That's me
I don't
wanting
want to
to
debate.
be.
I don't want to debate your final thoughts. Those are your opinions only. So I believe that if you barely know each other, um, the man should pay. He's setting the tone. He's saying, I'm going to be dominant. I'm doing what I would assume your father would do. I'm gonna eventually take on that role. As daddy, provide and protect. Um, and I don't believe that you barely know each other. The woman asks him, and she pays. Me personally, she ain't asking me. Cause I'm gonna tell her from the bat, like I wasn't raised like that. It's kind of like a woman saying, "Let me get your number." No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Or I'll be like, "Yo, what's your number? I'm right there with it."
Mm-hmm.
No, no. So um, that's how I look at it. A lot of people won't listen to this, but I think that the key to success, especially in the relationship aspect, is gonna be the knowledge and the communication that
Mm.
you have, the understanding, the consistency, the you know, the plans. I think that if I think people need to, when they go out, right, they need to ask the right questions. I think we had a topic like that,
Mm-hmm.
like questions, first date questions or something.
Oh yeah, I
I think
remember.
they should
Mm-hmm.
ask the right questions, and I think that the first date should be the test of if there's going to be a second, third, fourth, etc. Right? So the first date, me personally, I don't waste time with like going to extravagant places because it's the conversation that's paramount for me. So I'll do $14 coffee for both of us, Starbucks, whatever. Like it doesn't matter. Walk in the park, you don't have to spend anything.
That's I say $14.
Um, it's summer, go outside, patio,
Mm-hmm.
whatnot.
Picnic.
So for me, it's the conversation. So when you can get into their mind and, oh, this is how they think, I don't really like how you think. It's your thoughts, and that's that. But this is not going to work out. And
Mm.
then in that moment, you know what it is.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that people today should ask the right questions. And the man should ask the right questions pertaining to where he wants to go and his legacy. And the woman should ask the right questions pertaining to her safety, where she wants to go. Is he a good potential candidate? Um, and then her legacy as well.
Mm.
So this doesn't matter age. It doesn't matter if they don't have a family yet. Um, because at the end of the day, the woman is more at risk for a lot of potential harm to occur to her. So she should actually vet more.
Mm. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that priorities need to play a factor. So, for example, if the woman is not really decisive, she needs to find out if he's comfortable being decisive,
Mm.
right? If safety is her priority because of trauma, then she needs to prioritize that. And it's not just asking, because oftentimes it's like a job interview. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to say the right things to be picked.
Yeah.
So it's also watching if the actions match the words.
Yeah. That's true.
It's also watching if I don't need to tell them. It's
That's crazy though.
watching if she's interested, like text her.
Mm-hmm.
Most people they could be at work, maybe they can't use their phone, but you gotta understand if you're having conversation with her, she'll let you know that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? My phone goes in my locker, blah 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 blah, and she's not active like that. Like, and it will make sense because most people use their phone for social media.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it, right? Imagine you guys follow each other, and you text her, right? And she's taking 5 hours to text, but she been posting in her story.
That's so bad. Like,
Like all those 5 hours she's been posting in her story, and she's sitting at work.
right.
Oh, yeah, she's not interested. She's
Yeah.
not interested because clearly she has her phone
In
on
her
her
hand,
and
right.
she's not replying to me. So
Mhm.
I'm teaching the men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's using discernment.
So you know that you know as a man, like, I value being prioritized.
Mhm.
She's not prioritizing me, even in the beginning stage. So it's a wrap. I'm not even
Mhm.
gonna continue myself.
Right.
Some guys will go ghost. Some guys will be straight up and tell them. But that's part of good discernment. And when you use proper discernment, navigating into the dating market, it makes where you want to go simpler.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's less chaotic.
Like
So
where you want to take the relationship, you mean?
yeah,
Mhm.
so you could already now tell. Sometimes not sometimes, but all the time, you see people that have been with each other for so long, they read each other.
Mhm.
I know that's how she is. Like, remember I said there was an episode where I said, oh, I could walk in and my plate is on the table, but there's no food and water. Oh, she's mad. Yep, she's mad.
You
She's mad.
like
She's just not like a person that likes conflict and gonna scream and stuff like that. She's passive aggressive. She's
she's
being
subtle.
passive aggressive right
Yeah.
now. Meanwhile, every time I come home around this time, the food is always on the table. It's at the head of the table. It got food in it. I got my water right there. I got my. It's in the same. It's in the spots I want it.
Mhm.
But now you notice patterns are off. See, that's somebody. That's a couple that's been with each other for a long
Yeah.
time. Or maybe something happened to him, and instead of him being depressed, he's more calm, he's quiet, and
Mm.
she knows, oh, something's going on.
Mhm.
He's upset. I'm gonna give him his space.
Right.
So it's like, to navigate well in the dynamic, it's that we just, like, it flies over our head. We don't even fathom it. It's the communication, it's the understanding, it's the
Observing.
acceptance.
Mhm.
It's the acceptance. Some people lie that they want to accept. Oh, the dude is like, oh, I know you do OnlyFans. It's cool. Yeah, down the line, you're getting territorial. You never
Mhm.
really accepted it. The woman, oh yeah, I know about this lifestyle. Blah blah blah. Are you sure you want to still engage? Yeah, I want to try. I think I can do this and stuff. Yeah,
You
and
must have
then
had so many of those.
now you see how they're behaving. But
Mm.
it's like, wait a minute, I never changed.
Right.
You did.
Right.
You're trying to project and use gaslighting
Mhm.
tactics, psychological manipulation,
I hate that.
by making it seem like I did, and I'm
Mhm.
nuts.
Mhm. I hate that. My kids
you
are
you know, so
pros at that.
it's like, it's all about that. It's all about us, like, just the going back to the fundamentals.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, we're here on this earth to connect. Whether it's building business relationships, building new family, it doesn't have to be blood, that are friends,
Mhm.
acquaintances, personal, intimate relationships. We're on this earth to connect.
Yeah.
I think that that's what it comes down to, and I think the new generation should, excuse me, should take that into account of how they navigate out there. Because most of the time, people have gone through the path of depression or disaster or
Mhm.
whatever it is, harming themselves, because they don't go through these steps. They don't know what boundaries are. They
That's
don't
very
set
true.
them. So now they're trying to get all the way right off the bat to F. They're
Mhm.
not doing A, B, C, D, E,
Yeah.
F, G. They're going right to F and G, and expecting, like you were saying earlier, may not be verbatim. Well, I get into this type of act, and we're already here
Mhm.
now. Because you got so much people that have so much trauma that it's like, I don't want to start over.
Yep.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through the process of dating. I don't want to go through the process of knowing somebody. I don't. That's trauma talking. That's
Yeah.
toxicity talking too.
Yeah. I agree.
You lose it all, you got to start over. The sense of entitlement is thinking, I want to jump right back to where I left off. Like, women do that more than men.
Mhm.
Like,
And with
right back
different
to where
people
I
though.
left off.
Right.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like the most important thing for them is being in a relationship, not with who. It's just
Yeah.
getting to there.
Yeah. Like, imagine I release a sub or two, And then I get into the next relationship, and I'm like, yeah, you're right off the bat. I don't even give them certain rules. I don't tell them how I am. I don't put things on the table. Yeah, you're myself. To the next one, like same thing.
You're just setting her up
You're
for
just
failure.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're jumping right back where you left off. Trauma,
Right.
toxicity. You got to start from the fundamentals again.
Yeah.
Get
Because it's
these
a whole different
rules.
person.
Get these rules. Get this work. Understand this. Know the man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna know the woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going on these dates. If you don't like it, you could go. You're not used to this. You don't date? Oh, you don't date today? That's not what you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
You just talk for a couple of days, then it's time to have sex?
Has a
Like,
person ever, has a woman ever told you that?
yeah.
Holy crap.
You know, so
Sorry, I don't
it's
date. I
just
thought that was the fun part.
it's just you know, like me, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you tell me that. So you know, but at the end of the day, like a woman that tells me that I'm interested, I'm willing to work. I'm willing to work with her and be like, this is what we're gonna do, and try that out. And if I see that it's not working, then I'll be quick to be gone. Like she's not gonna go. She's not gonna go 100% of the time. She's not gonna go because the moment she actually finds out, full circle, we'll go back to what I was saying. What I do, this and that. I sent her a poem. She finds out, especially the operative word, he's different. She's not gonna want to give that up. So
That's
I
true.
would have to be the one to walk away because she's just gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have my cake and eat it too. I don't have to date, but I could get consistent D and the dominance and this and 50 Shades of Grey style." So I could
But
kind of
she
get that
really
because
didn't know you.
that always been my fantasy.
Mm.
But then I don't have to I don't have to conform to rules. I don't have to behave on social media. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that.
Right.
Certain people I'm around, certain places I'm going. I don't have to abide by these rules, but I can still have that. You see? So, you know, it comes down to that. You gotta know yourself too. I think that's the biggest thing. If you love
100%.
yourself, people are gonna love you, but you gotta know yourself. Once you know yourself, it's like you know to navigate out there and be like, these are the boundaries and whatnot. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know themselves and they get into these situations,
Mhm.
situationships, entanglements, whatever you want to call them,
Mhm.
and they're the ones that should be to blame, and they're blaming the counterpart,
Mhm. That's true.
you
I
know,
agree.
or blaming each other or whatever. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you were tuned into one of the most raw, uncut, unapologetic, real, no holds barred, one of the most exhilarating podcasts out there, the Discipline Therapy Podcast. Peace.
Peace.